Episode 193, Fires, Snow and a Little Sheep Husbandry. This is the World Organic News for the week ending the 11th of November 2019. John Moore reporting. Decarbonise the air, recarbonise the soil. Well, it's come to that time of the year again. Each year it arrives earlier. I'm talking about the fire season here in Australia. The season starts with fires in Queensland and New South Wales usually, and then heads south and west as the summer rolls on. Astute listeners will realise that we're still in spring. Summer looks horrendous. I've included a couple of links. One shows the extent of the fires from satellite images, and these are terrifying. Over 100,000 hectares have already been burnt. And the other article portends doom. While weather conditions have eased as I produce this on Sunday the 10th of November, Tuesday the 12th is being described as catastrophic, an actual bushfire level of threat here in Australia. Dry winds, high temperatures and low humidity. Of course the mainland, the eastern half especially, is in the grip of drought, so nature is in inverted commas conspiring to make things downright dangerous. In reality, years of political inaction on climate change, regenerative agriculture, indigenous fire management techniques and, wait for it, budget cuts have all added to create this situation. The New South Wales state government cut $35 million from the budget of the Rural Fire Service, and this is the body that is charged with fighting these bushfires. Podcast footnote for our listeners outside of Australia and New Zealand. The Rural Firefighting Services in Australia, and the names vary from state to state, Rural Fire Service, Country Fire Authority and so on. All these agencies are staffed, apart from a small coordinating group in the capital city of each state, by volunteers. That's right, unpaid volunteers. These people literally put their lives on the line each summer, and increasingly from spring to autumn, to protect local communities. As the fire seasons extend and the size of the fires increases, they are spending longer performing this community service, and even they have limits. People working on the fire fronts for up to 12 hours a day, days on end. We are fortunate in that the entire continent doesn't burn at once. Relief crews come from interstate and overseas. The Kiwis always kick in, and we return the favour when needed. During the 2013 fires, one of my sisters-in-law and her husband lost their house. We decided it was safer to move into my sister's holiday house down on the coast, 200 clicks away. As we drove down, a convoy of 50 plus South Australian tankers and crews were heading to fires. Almost brought me to tears. So to summarise this podcast, footnote, volunteers on the ground, budget cuts, willful ignoring of the science at the federal level, that federal government run by a Pentecostalist happy clapper, who literally brought a lump of coal into Parliament to show how great it was, is sending thoughts and prayers. Meh. In podcast footnotes. So we head into this week with trepidation. During this last weekend, another sister-in-law was evacuated and the fire stopped one street from her place. We have family and friends spread across the area of concern for next week. I can only hope this might lead to some actual changes, but I seriously doubt it. While all this was happening to our north on the mainland, we received snow down to 500 metres elevation here in Tasmania. Ourselves are at 350 metres, so a little sleet and lots of rain. It's a big place, Australia. On a more hopeful note, I came across a post on Facebook this week, and for the life of me I can't find it again. Thanks, Zuckerberg. But the gist of it went like this. Other than humans, every other living thing and biological system is working towards keeping the soil covered, moisture saved and the planet in dynamic balance. This being so, and from my observation it seems to hold true, we all need to think deeply about what is my favourite Masanobu Fukuoka statement. What less can I do? Let the systems do the work for us. On the home block we've had a new lamb, a first time ewe. She handled it well. I moved our massive flock of now 3 ewes, a ram lamb and a yearling ram, onto new feed the other day. There's a video in the blog post accompanying this episode. It shows the feed the flock has left and what they moved on to, probably 3 or 4 weeks before they'll be moved again. The apples continue to bloom, with the later varieties starting to burst bud. The pears are growing away at a pace, and I'll thin the fruits in December. The raspberries are moving from flowering to fruit production in their own ways. Harvest will start sometime in late December, early January. The last bag of frozen raspberries was cracked open from last year's harvest. Raspberry muffins for morning tea the other day whetted the appetite for the fresh fruits to come. The pigs have started their work on their new field. They run and frolic when they hit fresh pasture, their ears bouncing as they bound about. The geese, 2 females and a gander, have all coalesced around 6 goslings. They are maniacally protective. It is comforting to see, but with 2 of Mrs. World Organic News' grandkids arriving this week, things could become fraught. We will see. As parts of the mainland burn, we receive 40 mils this week. The dry time here is summer, especially late summer, so the more soil moisture we can accumulate now, the better. We really need to get our act together as a species. The natural world is screaming at us increasingly loudly. We must open our ears. Decarbonise the air, recarbonise the soil. We're in the process of writing Regen Earth's 2nd season of podcasts with my co-host Rich Bowden, and I'll let you know when they're roaming free on the interwebs. In the meantime, you might want to listen to our short Season 1 and subscribe so that when Season 2 drops, they're already in your feed. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back next week.